He wanted to change it up. Can't blame it on Justin
with the
today.
deep breathing.
That's so sad. His breakfast is right there.
I know.
Oh.
I was thinking about taking it too. I ain't gonna
It's
lie.
probably a breakfast, Danny.
Oh, man. Shout out to that dude, Justin. Shout out to Flannel Sam as well. The Woo Crew, man. The Woo Crew.
The Woo Crew.
We do things.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get over a couple
We do
humps.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, surprise.
Sometimes we might not understand the inside joke, but
We're
I
in
know you
demand.
guys do.
Yeah, we're in demand like that. You just know.
Factual.
Oh, man.
Factual. Guys, hit that like button. We're going to take just
Smash
10, 12
it.
minutes here before we get into barking. To talk about a player we've talked about a decent amount, but we got to take a little deeper dive because a lot of this Pistons season and future, I don't say if it's in the hands of Jaden Ivey, but he's either a huge part of it and a huge part of this turnaround, or he's not.
Yeah.
Or he's not.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Let me be optimistic. Tell me about Jaden. Give me something, because we all talked about staggering him with Cade. And I don't know if that's where you want to start, but we all have question marks. I know you do too, but you know more about what's going on down there than us.
Yeah, I think you kind of talked about it right. This isn't a situation where there's a middle with Jaden Ivey. And I have some notes here and some questions. And really the thing that I think is the most pressing when you talk about Jaden Ivey is with Ivey, it's not necessarily if he can get there. We all believe he's talented.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's believing in giving up on him. But can he get there now while the Pistons have improved the outside shooting at his position? That's really the thing that he's up against. We've been sitting here now with Cade Cunningham for years. He's just signed that max. And now you got a 5-year window, so you're on the clock. Do you have the time to figure out if this thing's worked? Or do you have to make sure that you can hit the ground running right now so that by year 1, year 2, year 3, Cade Cunningham is not sitting here saying, you know what, guys? This is not necessarily going to work out. I am bullish on Jaden Ivey, though.
Good.
I am bullish on him. And I side a little bit with JB Bickerstaff when he says he wants to be able to assess them first and take the notes to see who they are as basketball players, because I don't know if they've gotten their best fair shake as a backcourt tandem. They were just, for the first time ever, learning how to play in the same starting lineup, and they've had some highs, they had some lows. But if Jaden Ivey can be who he was the last 15 games of the season, more of that Jaden Ivey, that's the Jaden Ivey that I believe does mesh very, very well with a Cade Cunningham. So I want to be able to go through some of the strengths, some of the improvements, and where we believe he needs to step up to be able to really stake his claim.
Yeah.
Because improvement is needed. I'm not going to say that.
It has to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
Where is that first area where he's got to improve? Is it shooting? Is it just being on the floor in the right spot? His IQ? What is it?
The IQ and the playmaking for Jaden Ivey is actually there. All
Yeah.
of the metrics say that he's a really good playmaker. It's just a matter of who is he when he is off ball.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those metrics when he's a good playmaker is when he is heavily dominating the ball. But I saw stretches last year. It was a good 6 or 7 game stretch last year where he and Cade Cunningham actually had really good chemistry going, where the majority of the three-pointers that Cade Cunningham made were off of Jaden Ivey assists. Jaden Ivey getting downhill off of the pick and roll with Jalen Duren. Cade Cunningham moving from the top of the key over to either right or left, kind of to the diagonal from the rim. Jaden Ivey getting all the way to the rim and being able to loop it right back to Cade, who was wide open.
I like that. That gives me Russell Westbrook vibes.
Yep. And that's the thing. It is about the IQ, and it's about the development. And I think that comes with time, and that comes with having a coaching staff here that understands what they're doing. We just talked about the Lions. And how important it is for them to have guys like Terrell Williams here. Jaden Ivey now has a coaching staff and a development staff around him that will be able to get the best out of him. And I think that's what makes JB Bickerstaff say, you know what? I'm not really hold on. I want to see this first. Last year it was, hey, how's Jaden Ivey and Marcus Sasser looking? Well, Killian Hayes, blah, blah, blah. This year it's more or less like, you know what? I hear what y'all are saying, but I actually coached against them.
Yeah.
I coached in the NBA. I kind of want to see this thing now that I'm the one sitting in the driver's seat as a head coach.
And he's had experience these last couple of years, just in Cleveland. You got Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
You got Darius Garland, Karis LeVert. I don't know if they're the perfect fit as guards together, but he made it work.
Because of his offensive set.
Yes.
I hear people talk about, they say, defensively he got it, but offensively he needs to improve. But I'm sorry, when I see him playing with multiple dynamic guards in the same lineup is when I'm like, I think that they can definitely make this thing work.
Yeah.
He understands how to stagger them. He understands how to start them. He understands how to have them close the games as well. And I think that by giving Cade Cunningham the max right now, there's no question about who gets to make that decision at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
In the first quarter, I actually don't mind if you just say, you know what, Jaden Ivey, go ham.
Run the offense through him?
It's Cade, because think about it. Cade in first quarters does what? He usually is relaxing in the first quarters.
Yeah.
His highest scoring quarters are like second and fourth quarters.
Yeah.
It bodes well. You can stagger them in the same game and let Cade be what he is. Cade hits the three-point ball at his best clip as an off-ball shooter.
Yeah.
It seems like it fits perfectly to start the game fast with Jaden Ivey and then be able to have the methodicism of a Cade Cunningham, be able to just kind of be in the wings, waiting to be able to take on the responsibility when it's his time.
The only problem I have, because Jaden Ivey, like you said, from a playmaking standpoint, he's pretty solid, man. But I worry about him off ball, like you mentioned, his efficiency at the rim and from 3-point range. When Cade is running the offense, he needs to be more in that slasher role, man. He needs to get to the basket and finish at the basket. And if he's going to take threes, he needs to be able to hit them at an efficient clip. He doesn't have to make the most threes. He doesn't have to make 6-7 threes a game. But if you're going to take 2 to 3 3-point shots, you need to be hitting those. What do you say about him as an off-ball performer, maybe playing that slasher dunker spot?
Jaden Ivey needs to be a guy who has off-ball gravity.
Yeah.
So everything you just stated, he needs to be a player that the defense knows we cannot sag off of him. So even if he's not hitting the three ball at a decent clip like we talked about with Ron Holland, what are you doing with all the other rest of your skills, your athleticism, your speed, your hops, your ability to really he can't finish at the rim. He just, for some reason, didn't do it that well
He can get to the rim
year.
without a problem. It's finishing that's the issue.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what? And that's what I'm saying. Tune up that confidence and just go. Last year, it seemed like they were kind of guessing, like they didn't know what they were doing. Really, during his whole entire career. Then they put the ball in his hands, you guess a little less.
Yeah.
And that's where you see him finishing a lot more with dunks and finishing a lot more aggressively at the rim. But I believe that he has to be one of those guys. In the last 15 games of last season, Jaden Ivey, he upped the three-point attempts that he was taking from about 4.5 over the season to 5.5 attempts per game. Does anybody want to take a guess at what they think his three-point percentage was the last 15 games of the season on 5.5 attempts a game?
Over 30?
32?
36%.
Not bad.
That's where you. That's what I'm
bad.
saying. So towards the end of last season, we saw him make these strides. I wish it was more in line with a Cade Cunningham and the rest of the lineup you're going to see.
Right.
But we saw him take some strides that way. And when I look at him versus a Malik Beasley, one of the things that when you talk about starting Malik Beasley is he only makes 1.2 threes a game more than Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't make more threes per game than Jaden Ivey over the last 15 games of last season.
True, but he's way more consistent.
But he can't. You talking about finishing at the rim. Do you understand how many free throws a game that man takes? Less than one a game.
That's not
Jaden
good.
Ivey is getting 3, 4, 5 free throw attempts a game because of his style of play. When you talk about wanting a dynamic guard that can cut and do some things with a Cade Cunningham on the floor, Beasley is not going to give you that.
Yeah.
He will give you consistent shooting, but if it's only at one more three a game, is that worth saying, you know what, we're going to take a hit on what the combo of Cade and Ivey could ever be? And that's where I'd say, you know what, I think we got to look a little bit more at Jaden Ivey because the stats are kind of in his favor. His defensive win share, his defensive ability is on par, if not better, than Malik Beasley. His PER, his efficiency rating, is better than Malik Beasley. His points per game, better than Malik Beasley. And he did all this last year while dealing with the crap that he had to go through underneath Monty Williams.
Yes, and that combined with, we've talked since the Beasley, the Hardaway, the Tobias Harris signings, we've talked the benefit of that to Cade.
Yeah.
But how much does that benefit Jaden Ivey? Could he have a much better season? We want his three-point shooting to improve, but
that's a great question.
Maybe you shoot one less three-pointer, but that cutability now that he has shooters around him, like when the lane is clogged, as it was hard for Cade Cunningham to do anything, it's also hard for Jaden Ivey to make anything happen, to cut when the lane is filled with players. Now they have to guard Beasley or Tim Hardaway if they're out on the floor together.
Should help them
Simone
both.
Fontecchio. It should help them both.
Yep, and just some quick improvements from year 1 to year 2 for Jaden Ivey. His true shooting improved from 52.8% to 53.6%. His effective field goal percentage went up from 47.7% to 49%. So his shooting did make improvements from year 1 to year 2. He was actually a plus 2.4 on the court per 100 possessions on the season. Jaden Ivey. He reduced his fouls committed from 118 down to 95, and he reduced his bad passes on the season from 137 bad passes his rookie season down to 97.
Yeah.
He took some strides, and I'm just not one who's saying, am I ready to say, you know what? I'm done looking at the type of improvements he can make. Obviously, we know he has to be able to get better at finishing at the rim and shooting.
Yeah.
But when I'm just kind of looking at the advanced stats, looking at his ability to play make, looking at the different metrics, like check this out. Top 10 second-year players in old LeBron box score, and this is the impact that the best offensive box score. These players had the best offensive box scores. Jaden Ivey is number 7 out of all the
Not bad.
And that's what I'm saying. When I kind of go through this thing, I'm just like, dang. Top 10 guards, just top 10 guards, not second-year guards. Top 10 guards in shooting fouls drawn per 100 touches. Jaden Ivey is number 3. RJ Barrett, SGA, Jaden Ivey. Ahead of Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Cam Thomas. Think about that.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're going to take that out of the starting lineup. We're going to take that and really reduce probably the amount of minutes that he might play as well.
Real quick, what's his free throw percentage when he is getting to the line?
Free throw percentage, I believe he's sitting around 74. I got it up right here in front of me.
Okay. So that's also an area
75%.
Okay, so solid, but it does need to go up from there. If he can hit close to 79, 80, I feel way more comfortable with that.
Malik Beasley last year, 71.4% from the free throw line.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when I kind of dug into it, it's not just, I believe it's just pick. Jaden Ivey deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm not ready necessarily to give up on the experiment of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey because there are some things that I really like.
Yeah.
But when I look at the other options and when I realize Jaden Ivey's a lot more dynamic than we actually give him credit for.
Yeah. So if it were up to you, you would want to start Jaden Ivey again instead of opting for more floor spacing, and you would much rather just try to develop Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup.
I don't know if it's necessarily a development because I believe you're almost ahead of development. Obviously, there's going to be some in-season stuff that you do with your second and third year players, but you're looking for this team to be one that we think can definitely hit that over. So I'm just saying if it doesn't work, you will know that early. A Beasley, a Tim Hardaway, people who have no real future with this organization 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you can kind of be a little bit more kind of loose with how you handle their minutes in their rotation. They're coming here with the expectation of potentially coming off the bench or not. With a Jaden Ivey, his ceiling is so much higher that I would rather see. Can J.B. Bickerstaff and co? Can Trajan Langdon and co? Can those guys do much better than Troy Weaver and Monty Williams? And as much as I love Dwayne Casey.
Yeah, and this is absolutely no shade at Ivy. Yeah. I feel like his growth was absolutely stunted last year with Monty Williams not starting him and being able to work out maybe some of the kinks on the fly. But this is a guy, his skill set is already there, man. 14 points a game out the gate, man. He
15.4.
He's very athletic. Like, he reminds me almost like Russell Westbrook type of athletic when he can get to the rim. It's just all about finishing. But I do agree with you there. There is something there. I just don't know if they should start him or whether he should maybe come off the bench and give some juice to the bench. But he is a guy, he already has the skills there. And I am interested to see how JB Bickerstaff works it out, because I do feel even if you do start them in the starting lineup, staggering them will go a long way.
That definitely. And that's why I'm glad that he at least stated that. And we've all wanted that. We say, look, let them start, but give them times where they can go out there and play to the best of their abilities, because why not? Why not?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand why they didn't. Jaden Ivey has a 24.5% usage rate, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's showing, which is wild to put that in perspective. Malik Beasley has a 14% usage rate, but he's showing that he can handle it. And you know what? Top 5 second-year players in playmaking talent. Second-year players.
Yeah.
So his draft included players like Jalen Williams, Paolo Banchero, Jaden Hardy. What do you think Jaden Ivey lands in that? The top 5.
They probably put him last.
He's number
I don't
1.
agree.
He's number 1.
Wow.
Jaden Ivey, B-Ball Index. All right, let me make sure I shout them out. Basketball Index.
Yeah.
Follow them on X, _B-Ball_Index. They got a robust system and metrics and advanced stats and such that help to really show the true impact of a player. And Jaden Ivey was number 1. Paolo Banchero, Jalen Williams, and so forth. And so it's like, you know what? I do want to see a little bit more. But the thing I know is this. He is very equipped, both mentally and skill-wise, though, to, if it is off of the bench or if it is major staggers, he can handle that as well. And that's why I'm saying if he can handle that, let's just see what we have first to scratch the surface, because he made some improvements this year throughout all of that crap.
Yeah.
That shows me resiliency. You started off not on the bench. You started off in a doghouse and you didn't even do anything to put yourself there.
Right.
And every time I interviewed him before we knew what was going on, and I'm going to be bringing these clips up more and more and more because I don't think we did them justice.
Yeah, for real,
we didn't have
man.
this platform when we were doing this.
It was weird, man. It was weird to say the least.
I'm going to bring some of those up on both ends from Monty Williams' perspective, but also Jaden Ivey the entire time never cracked. He was like, bro, I am going to do whatever they ask me to do. I'm a son of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
If they want me to come off the bench, I'll do that. I am grateful to have this opportunity. And I was just sitting here like, dog, you're better than me, Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
You're better than me. I try and teach my boys to be the same, but I'm just sitting here like, that would absolutely blow my mind, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I really would.
Especially after the rookie season he had, which by all accounts was a very solid rookie year. So
Yeah. But hey, look,
Love it.
Jaden Ivey, we're going to have more of these as we get closer to the season where we break down players. Jalen Duren will be next, where we go over the improvements that we want to see, the improvements they did make, their strengths, and what they need to do to solidify themselves as a part of this core. So I appreciate you guys for letting us take a couple minutes this segment to talk Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
Thank you as well, KG,
Oh,
man.
for
Yeah,
sure, man.
some great points. We got that dude Justin back in the building. But let me tell you about Swiss Insurance because we got something important on the way. But first, Swiss Insurance. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in any extra fees.